welcome back to the channel. We are Rough and Ready Ventures, and if you haven't already seen, we bought a house in Bulgaria without seeing it. So this is how we did it. This is a little step-by-step video of the start to the finish of how we purchased our property in Bulgaria, because we had a lot of answers, a lot of questions about that and how long the process took. So here we go. We decided we wanted to buy a property in Bulgaria. The reason why we decided this, the reason why this come across was about a year ago. Neil found a house in Bulgaria and we seen how cheap it was. However, back then nothing come about it because we was doing different things. And then it come back out of the woodwork literally probably 3 weeks ago now. And we started looking. I looked online at prices again, looking at a couple of houses, and me and Neil just looked at each other and we said, shall we do it? And I was like, me and Neil both agreed, and we actually agreed on something. We agreed that, yeah, shall we just do it? So we did no more than buy a house in Bulgaria. So this is how simple it was. We decided we wanted to go and buy a house in Bulgaria. I started looking. I looked on the internet. I looked on a lot of companies actually on the internet. I literally typed in Bulgaria houses for sale. There's loads and loads of places that will come up, but I also looked on eBay. Yeah, eBay. And that is where we bought our house, on eBay. It's through a company called Bulgaria Direct. This is not an ad at all, but that's the company we bought it through, and absolutely fantastic. They've been going since 2003, so for 20 years I believe. So I emailed them, said what we was looking for. They replied back. They said, oh, that's lovely to know. We'll keep an eye out and send you any properties that come up for sale. In the meantime, have a look on eBay and see if there's any you like. So for the next week from then, I was every day on eBay looking at houses in Bulgaria and their company. There was a few that we liked, but not in the location that we was really looking for. To start off with, we was looking in the south of Bulgaria for the heat and for the weather, and to be by the beach. Then we wanted to be by the mountains to do an Airbnb at the side of, like, within the property. But then we was like, no, too cold. Anyway, then a house popped up and it was beautiful. I loved it. Everything about it. It had everything we wanted. We was looking for land and barns because we want to eventually live off the land and have animals, so we needed barns for that, and we wanted obviously land to be surrounded by. And we found a property. I did not care where the location was of this house because I loved it that much, that because of the look of it and because of everything about it, other than the location, I didn't even know. I said to Neil, look at this house, and Neil was like, wow. He fell in love with it like I did. So I emailed Bulgaria Direct. I said, found this property and we think this is the one we want. They asked us if we wanted to go view it. We said obviously we're in the UK. They said unfortunately they don't hold properties for people in UK unless they have unless they're already out in Bulgaria to go view the house straight away, unfortunately. So it was like, right, okay, how much is the deposit? I can't remember how much it was now. It wasn't a lot at all. It was under £1,000. I said to Neil, look, they can't hold the property. There's a lot of people interested. However, we can pay a deposit and then fly over. And me and Neil was like, shall we do that? Shall we not? We had a lot of people telling us we'd be stupid if we did that, buying a house without even looking at it. And me and Neil just looked at each other and said, well, you only live once. We could miss out on this opportunity. So we did nothing more than send the deposit over. And ching, we had a confirmation that we had put a deposit down on a house and that it was held for us to go over. It wasn't held, we'd paid the deposit for the house, so the only way out of it was to then tell them we don't want it and we'd lose the deposit for the house. But in other words, we had now bought this house. Told my parents. They was like, are you crazy? And I was like, maybe. And a week later, we decided we'd fly out there. So in this time, that we bought the house, literally it taken half an hour to decide, well, a little longer than half an hour. It took the day to decide that we was going to have the house, and we sent the deposit. We could have signed the papers there and then, signed the contract, and everything been signed, and we could have then picked up the keys whenever we wanted. However, because we decided we was going to fly over to Bulgaria, they said, well, you may as well come into the estate agents and sign the contracts there. So that's what we did. A week later, we then flew out to Bulgaria. We flew into Sofia. The estate agent was in VT. We bought our house just north of VT in a little village. Not going to say the village name, obviously, for reasons we don't want. It's a tiny little village. We don't want bombarding with people. If people come over to Bulgaria, you're more than welcome to come. Just give us a message, but we don't want people turning up unannounced. So we flew out to Sofia. Our parents decided that they would come with us. So Cozy Adventures, they are on YouTube. They decided, why not embark on this journey as well? They was very interested, however, they didn't want to buy a house without seeing it. So they jumped on the plane with us. We arrived in Sofia. We told the estate agents. The estate agents then met us at the house. Well, he was a man called Martin. I think his name was Martin. Now I've got myself questioning. He met us at the house. He was absolutely fantastic. He showed us around our house, give us our keys. Bear in mind we haven't signed the contract for the house, but we've obviously paid a deposit. He gave us our keys. We was going to stay in the house, but he was a little concerned for us. Obviously, the weather's beautiful in Bulgaria. However, at night time it does drop really quite cold. So he said, look, why don't you find an Airbnb to stay? I think it would be better. He did not leave us until we had somewhere safe to stay that night, which we can't thank enough. But obviously, being in Bulgaria, family, we had my little sister with us. It was quite daunting, obviously, because we know nothing about Bulgaria and where we was. We was in the middle of nowhere in this little village where our house was. He stayed with us until we'd found somewhere safe to sleep. So we went back to the Airbnb. The next morning, we then went to the house my parents were looking at, because we was only in Bulgaria for 3 days, so they had to view their house and decide whether they was wanting it or not in 3 days. So we went to their house. He literally left the keys hung on the door for us that night, so we could then go back in the morning and look round. And they looked around their house, and if you don't already know, they purchased their property. So within 2 hours, they had gone from the start to the finish of completion of buying their house. Yeah, 2 hours. They had bought their house, looked at the house, well, gone to the house, looked at the house, drove back to VT, which is about 40-minute drive, 50-minute drive, gone to the estate agents, signed the contract, sorted the company out, and had the keys for permanent. Yeah, that quick. Ours was the same, however, we didn't sign the contract that quick, only because we decided not to sign it online and we wanted to go into the estate agents. So we all went down to the estate agents, we all signed the contracts, and that was it. It's easy as that. People have asked questions about company. So how that is obviously being British, unfortunately you can't just go and buy a house in Bulgaria. You have to open up a company. Well, our estate agents, and I believe all estate agents do this for you if you ask. Ours did, definitely. So it's literally as simple as they ask you what your business name, what you want your company name to be called. You tell them the company name, you pay them the fee. It's roughly £500, roughly, is a little bit just under £500, and it's the company, well, I lied there, it's between £300 and £500. You tell them a company name and they do all that for you. It's literally that simple. So that is nothing to worry about at all, as long as you have a good enough estate agent. You just choose your name. The company does not have to be trading. It does not have to be earning any money. You literally just have to open up a company and purchase the house through the company. So the house is still yours, however, you own it through the company you own. Nothing to worry about there at all. The house is still yours. So that's that, really. Short, simple. It is literally that quick. Well, it was that quick for us with Bulgaria Direct. The estate agent in VT, they was incredible. We cannot thank them enough for all the help they did. And they still email us to check up to make sure we're all right, and if we need any hand or need any help with getting building materials, etc. So yeah, quick, easy, really. We had an amazing time doing it. People say that we're crazy and we're stupid to buy a house without seeing it, but if we hadn't have done that, we wouldn't be where we are now. We wouldn't have a house we possibly might not have had a house in Bulgaria, and the house that we love so much in a location that is out of this world. The village is just amazing. I cannot say a bad thing about it, and our neighbours there are absolutely lovely. Even though we don't speak Bulgarian and they don't speak much English, we still communicated quite well, and they was happy to welcome us into their village, which was absolutely lovely, because we did worry, obviously with it being such a small village, would they like us being there? But they did. They loved it. They were so welcoming, and we are going to be learning Bulgarian for sure to make it a lot easier. So I think I've covered everything, really. The ways you can pay for houses in Bulgaria with Bulgaria Direct, they have a fantastic I don't know what it's called. They have a fantastic arrangement, shall I say. So you can either buy your house outright with Bulgaria Direct, or they do monthly payments for your house. So you can pay a deposit for your house and pay per each month, a bit like a mortgage, but it's no different. You would literally complete that in the same time. We did within 2 hours. Storage got full then. So other than paying it in full, you'd sign a contract to say that you'll pay the deposit and you'll pay the monthly payments. Usually I think it's around 5 years, or you can do it over the time you want. You pay the amount you want. It has to be a minimum of what you paid the deposit, I think. But again, even if you're doing it that way, it's still the same process, still the same time to completion, which is really fantastic for people that can't afford to pay for a house up front. And there's no checks done with that either. It's literally pay them a deposit and keep paying the monthly payments. However, there is a thing with that: if you do not pay the monthly payments, the house is returned to them straight away, unfortunately. So if you missed a payment even by a day, the house is recalled back into their possession. But yeah, I believe that is everything. There was a few questions that people asked us. One of them would be, why did we choose Bulgaria? Again, we didn't necessarily choose Bulgaria. We knew what we was looking for. We knew that we wanted some land somewhere, just in a hot destination, and we knew what we was looking for on the land. And when Bulgaria came up and it being as cheap as it was a wow. Because as you know, me and Neil didn't want to return into a house. So you might be like, well, why have they bought a house in Bulgaria? It was because the prices of land in other countries compared to what you could buy in Bulgaria that came with a house was a bit of a no-brainer. Why wouldn't we? And it's completely different. We're not going back into living in a house into a 9 to 5 job. It's about, we're going to be living off the land of our house, which we cannot wait for. So yeah, that's really why we ended up choosing Bulgaria, and it's an absolutely beautiful place, especially the village that we are going to be living in. And I think that's it. And someone said, how long did it take again? It can take as little as 2 hours from us getting the key, from us paying a deposit to getting the keys was 2 weeks only through our decision, because we wanted to sign the contract in person. The company we use, again, like I've said a million times, is Bulgaria Direct. They do work through, they have got a website page. My legs are gone dead. They have got a you saying hello, Ray? Thank you. You don't worry. They do have a website page called Bulgaria Direct online, which you can search. However, they list their properties on eBay and they respond so quickly. The estate agent we had she was called Ivor, and she was lovely. But again, like I said, the whole team was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that's bringing our video to a close, I believe. If you do have any other questions, pop them in the comment section and I will either answer them or answer them in our next video. If you have any suggestions on what video you want to see next, then again, drop it down below. But for now, we'll see you later. Bye. Oh, and if you want to see more content like this, make sure you give us a like and subscribe. And go over to Cozy Adventures, where they're also doing the same adventure we are.